Hello and a very warm welcome to Brands Hatch for the last round of the Pickup Truck Racing Championship. This is where it all started back in April. It's been a season-long battle and we've still got 4 drivers in with the shout of the championship. The defending champion, Michael Smith, is top of the standings. Paul Jones is second. Mark Willis, bouncing back from a torrid time at Rockingham earlier in the year, is third in the championship. And Freddie Lee is in with a chance as well. He's in 4th place. Michael Smith is the championship leader, a similar situation to last year. I think a little bit more comfortable in terms of the points lead. So Michael, you have got a points lead. What are your plans this weekend? Is it race wins or is it just those championship points?
Yeah, I think it's championship points really. I have got a nice little bit of a lead, but nothing's guaranteed. I'd still need to finish the races. I need to get some good points in qualifying and hopefully get some points in race 1. And hopefully try and steal it in race 1 really. That's me plan, but you never know. So we'll keep an eye on Paul and Mark and possibly Freddie. I don't know how close Freddie is to me, I think. So I've got to keep an eye on everybody really and stay out of other people's troubles really.
Paul Jones is second in the championship. Let's find out what Paul is hoping to do this weekend. Paul, Brands Hatch was the scene for a win earlier on in the year. You had a great meeting here at the start of the season. Can you repeat that, do you think, this weekend and maybe overhaul Michael Smith in the standings?
Well, we had to go at Pembury and we got a first and a second at Pembury, which was like, the truck was going really well there. So we're just hoping for a bit of qualifying in the dry this afternoon and hope that we can start nipping at Michael. And fair play, if we finish second, that's fine. We're happy with that.
Mark, obviously last time we saw you on last lap was the Rockingham 100. You won all 3 races there, mega meeting. You went back to Rockingham. Tell us what happened.
We went back there a fortnight later, and I mean, when it comes down to the Oval Championships, I think we was about 140, 150 in front, and you think you're just going to go there and you've got to finish, but it wasn't to be. I got caught up in an accident on the lap 1 of the first race, and that put us out for the whole day. The truck was just, it was a wreck, and on the Monday and the Tuesday the phone starts to ring and the sponsors come across with some money and the team were fantastic, and then by the following week the chassis had come back from SHP. They worked wonders with it and got it all jigged out. We got it back on the Friday night the week previous to the Pembury meeting, and literally by the Monday evening it was all on its wheels and it was nearly ready to go. We had a few finishing touches to do then. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more really, to get it all back and to get it how it was, and to be back on the pace after the accident was fantastic. And then it's the same this morning. We've just been out for free practice, and obviously it's wet and it's been fantastic. The car's great.
I'm with Freddie Lee, who's 4th in the championship, mathematically still in with a chance of the title. Freddie, good to see you. What's the chances? What have you got to do this weekend in order to win the championship?
Right, it's a long shot, but I believe the points are, people have told me that if I have a perfect weekend, so 2 poles, 2 fastest laps and 2 wins, if Michael Smith stays in Hartlepool, then maybe I've got a chance, but I mean, it's a long shot. I think second or third's a bit more realistic for me, but I'm just going to try and go out fighting, get some good consistent finishes, try and get on that podium and see what happens.
You made the move from Pro 2 to Pro 1 look effortless this year. Has that been the case?
I mean, thank you, but I mean, yeah, I've had some great people around me, my team, Matt Roach Racing, my sponsors, Simpson, Exxon, Crowthorne, Quaith, just to name a few, Burton Power, have been really good to me, and I'm very thankful for the opportunities I've had this year. So, yeah, it's been a good year, but if it wasn't without them guys, I wouldn't be able to do it.
John Shorter, first of all, congratulations on winning both the Pro 2 Championship and the Rookie Championship. Tell us about your experiences this year.
Yeah, it's been a challenge, which is, I said at the beginning of the year, was what we were after really, coming to Pickup Truck Racing from Autograss, and yeah, we've had a really good year. It's been a challenge. It's been difficult at times. Wet conditions and tarmac still seem to catch me out now and again. We've finished all but 2 races of every race we've entered this year, and we've done all of them. So it's been the reliability of the truck really, which is down to the team.
In terms of your outlook on the championship, extremely professional, obviously a very strong brand. You've got a new transporter. It looks absolutely fantastic. The commitment is not only on track, it's off track too for you.
Yeah, definitely. It's took us this season really to get the right equipment around us. But when you get the right equipment, the job becomes a bit easier. So, having Wild West has just been fantastic, and their enthusiasm around what we're doing is brilliant. The online social media presence, the coverage that they give us, our other sponsors, and their acceptance of the other sponsors is just unreal. You know, we couldn't ask for any more as a team, and I'm really, really appreciative of that.
John Shorter, Pro 2 champion, rookie champion as well this year, first year driver. But it's all about those top 3 places, the 3 main championship positions up for grabs today. Scott Bourne on pole, David O'Regan, Freddie Lee and Carl Boardley row 2, and Shane Brereton and Mark Willis on the 3rd row. Gavin Murray and Michael Smith next, then Paul Tompkins and Dave Longhurst. John Shorter with Jeff Dixon on row 6, Paul Jones and Lee Rogers row 7, Chris Land and Anthony Hawkins on the 8th row, then Ben Edwards and Phil White. Great to welcome Ben to the championship, his first race, the ex-autograsser from Weymouth, and wet conditions greeting the trucks for their first race. Now, qualifying has left a few issues up in the air. Michael Smith is 231 championship points clear as we go in truck with Carl Boardley, and here they come up to the line. The gold truck of Scott Bourne leads them away here at Brands Hatch in very, very slippery conditions. You can see we've got a little bit of moisture on the lens, and it's a lot worse for the drivers going through Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. This the view from Carl Boardley, second place at the moment, looks across. David O'Regan is immediately in front of him with Scott Bourne the leader. Mark Willis in 65 on the case. Freddie Lee in 51 is there looking on the inside line as they they slither and slide out of the Druids hairpin. They're still working so hard. These guys are on the ragged edge. Now there's some interesting tyre choices. Some of the guys have gone full wet. Some of the drivers have gone too wet, too dry tyres, having a mixture, including, I think, Carl Boardley, who's running in 3rd place at the moment. So Willis right behind him. Michael Smith, when we see him, is truck number 93. There, though, is Lee Rogers with Paul Jones. Jones second in the championship, the blue 82, up ahead of former champion Phil White in 63. Board leads, O'Regan, Boardley, Willis, Lee, too quick to call as they go across the line. And the championship lead, 231 points here for Michael Smith, 200 points for a win. So effectively, Michael Smith really just needs to finish this race to secure the championship. It's a long time since we've seen somebody with that sort of lead coming into the last 2 races of the season. I think the last driver to do that was Nick Grindrod. One of his trucks is out there with Shane Brereton at the wheels. We watch Freddie Lee and Dave Longhurst side by side. Mark Willis and David O'Regan, and Longhurst snips up the inside. What an audacious move by Longhurst. Very nimble through and into 3rd place. Longhurst 3rd, Willis now 4th, or still 4th, with David O'Regan, the man that lost out there. Then it's Willis from number 12, Paul Tompkins, the former Bangor World Champion, and then 95, Gavin Murray. Murray 5th in the championship. It would have been nice to have had a chat with him before the meeting as well, but not in with a shout of those top 3 positions, Gavin, but he's had a very good, strong season and very rightly being marked out as a future pickup truck champion. Paul Tompkins down the inside line of Freddie Lee. So those guys having a good old race of it, but it's Scott Bourne the leader from Carl Boardley. And if I sound surprised, Scott Bourne, first year driver and running in the Pro 2 category, the 2 litre car. Obviously he's going to be helped a little bit by the wet conditions. Sideways moment there for Gavin Murray, collects it up. Michael Smith, the championship leader, looks to the outside line. Smith will not take any risks here. The most experienced man in the championship, Michael Smith, might on an earlier round have had a dive down the inside there, waits for the right moment, dab on the brake lights, and Smith goes through past the 51 of Freddie Lee. Freddie still gunning for a top 3 in the championship. Jeff Dixon up ahead of Ben Edwards, as I said, Weymouth-based driver Ben. This is very much an exploratory meeting for him. See how he gets on with it. We're getting a lot of new drivers looking at the Pickup Truck Championship, which is wonderful stuff. And here's John Shorter, who we heard from, dicing for 2nd place in Pro 2 with Chris Land. Chris all the way from St Austell in Cornwall, so travels a long way. And Chris having a good battle there with John Shorter in the Wild West Beef Jerky truck. as Michael Smith heads 51 Freddie Lee. Gavin Murray ahead of Michael. The black, green and red truck of Paul Tompkins immediately ahead of them, coming down the hill and onto Cooper Straight once again. Scott Bourne, good lead for Bourne at the moment. He really has been a revelation in this championship. So running in the Pro 2 category and taking the fight to the 2.3 Pro 1 drivers. You can come in either category in pickup truck racing, and perhaps a good way to come in is with the 2 litre truck and learn your craft. The grids are partially reverse grids. There's qualifying sessions, or a qualifying session which is split into 2. There are points available on qualifying, and then the championship organisers partially reverse the grid depending on the number of trucks that we have racing, so that if you score a decent result, we look at Ben still chasing Jeff Dixon, the Hales Owen based racer in the Palmer's Garage Merivale TV Services machine. So as I was saying about qualifying, if you qualify well you get the points, but you start a little bit further back down the order. Welcome back to Brands Hatch, the penultimate race of the 2015 Pickup Truck Racing Championship. Jeff Dixon at the moment ahead of newcomer, pickup truck debut for number 14, Ben Edwards, the man from Weymouth, enjoying his racing, but the back end wants to come around. That shows you how slippery things are here at Brands Hatch, and Ben in an unfamiliar to him car, collecting it up well, loses a little bit of ground on Jeff Dixon. There is 69, Lee Rogers, running in the Pro 2 category, former Pro 2 champion. He's done selected rounds this year. Great to see him racing once again as we go back to, where's the leader? Scott Bourne flashes through the Gold Arts Gold livery truck in the front at the moment. Cole Boardley second, then 65 Mark Willis third. Dave Longhurst fourth. Downhill towards Graham Hill Bend, so Willis up to third. Cole Boardley, the Ipswich-based racer, has been racing in Janetta, has done some hot rod races I think this year as well. There is Shane Brereton in 48, coming under pressure from Anthony Hawkins. And Hawkins in an unfamiliar truck to us, a new truck, 3J Transmissions back machine, but back to Boardley, Willis and Longhurst all scrapping over second. Maybe they'll try and work together and close down on Scott Bourne. Bourne in the Pro 2 truck in his first season and doing a wonderful job out here in the wet. Back to Brereton and Anthony Hawkins. Hawkins here looks like he might look down the inside. Brereton in the Kelso machine goes a little bit wide. Hawkins, you can see the back end wanting to break away. Not as much grip as he would like there, with that inside line making things a little bit tighter for him. But he carries on. He's lost ground, hasn't he there, Hawkins? It was an audacious move up the inside rather than perhaps the traditional wide racing line out of clearways. Back to third place, Mark Willis. Willis here is taking points out of Paul Jones. Jones is in the top 10, but Willis is closing down on him, and it means that I can tell you Michael Smith still racing as well. Smith at the moment in a position to start the championship. There is Scott Bourne. Are we going to see a first win here for Scott Bourne? We've not seen an outright win for a Pro 2 truck since the Pro 1s came into being a few seasons ago, and Scott Bourne looking very handy indeed. There's Michael Smith at the head of this duo. David O'Regan, the Irishman, in number 8, Freddie Lee immediately behind him. We've got some real big guns right the way down the field. Most of the drivers have had podium finishes over the course of the season and indeed their careers. There is O'Regan, who of course we've seen winning here on last lap. A very capable driver up ahead of Freddie Lee. Freddie has been banging in quite a few pole positions. The qualifying fastest times today set by Mark Willis and Freddie Lee. So Fred, thus far, that first win in pickup trucks has eluded him. He's been a winning driver in the Fiesta Junior Championship. There is Chris Land in 77, new driver, goes a little bit wide there, and Chris in his first season joined us at Thruxton, so has done part of a season but enjoying his racing. And here they come again. So Michael Smith goes through, and then David O'Regan, Freddie Lee. Freddie trying to put the pressure at the moment on David O'Regan. O'Regan goes wide. Freddie's going to have a little pedal up the inside, see whether he can go through. Might have been better with a wider line possibly there, and now goes back to that wide line. He's closing in on number 8 track. Here comes Freddie Lee. Well, take no notice of me. He's got the momentum coming off the corner. Goes across the line, side by side with O'Regan.
and Lee goes through, makes up the place and passes David O'Regan to go through. Freddie with a lot of ballast on the truck as well. Remember the trucks get success ballast up to a maximum of 70 kg, and if you look very closely at Fred's windscreen, you'll see that he's actually carrying 70, which is the maximum ballast. You get 30 for a win, 20 for second, 10 for third, and that goes up to the maximum of 70. If you finish outside the podium, then the weight starts to come off, and it's a good idea. It's a very, very good idea. It keeps the racing even and gives everybody a chance. Up towards us though, once again comes Jeff Dixon. What a terrific scrap Dixon is having here with Ben Edwards, the newcomer, showing well. Jeff Dixon running well too. There is Shane Brereton, who's doubling up in the British Truck Racing Association Championship this weekend as well. So Brereton will have 7 race starts. So there's a puff of smoke from Anthony Hawkins. It looks like it could be game over for Hawkins. I think he's coming into pit. Yes, he is. Anthony Hawkins, the champion from 2 years ago, goes into the pit lane, I think into retirement. As we look at the reigning champion, Michael Smith, in number 93, the man from Hartlepool, the driver on track with the most experience of pickups. He's got the most career points as well, and I think here at the moment, driving a very sensible race. He knows, as Ben Edwards pulls over to the outside line, allows the faster guys through. Great racing from Ben Edwards, very respectful, doesn't want to wind up anybody on championship finals day, keeps well out of the way. Well, sadly, it looks like he's going into retirement as well to join Anthony Hawkins. Well, let's hope it's not terminal, that Ben will be back out for race 2. So past Jeff Dixon goes John Shorter. Shorter 6 in the overall championship, despite being a Pro 2 runner. So he really has had some very good, fast, consistent race results this year. John Shorter, the former autograss racer, completely different discipline for him, coming off the dirt track ovals and racing on tarmac, but he's acquitted himself well, represented his sponsors and his team superbly, supported by his daughter Emily and his wife Sally, herself a renowned autograss racer. But here's the battle for the lead, and it is a battle, because Carl Boardley, as you can see, has broken away from Willis and Longhurst, and he's really on the case now of Scott Bourne. Scott Bourne out front, the 2 litre versus the 2.3 litre machine of Carl Boardley, and Boardley driving superbly in these wet conditions, as is Scott Bourne. They're pulling away, and it's the Gold Arts machine ahead of the CP Dynes Nimbus truck at the moment. Carl Boardley's all over the back of Scott Bourne. Let's see what he can do now. Boardley slightly wider, going into Graham Hill Bend, piling the pressure on. Bourne's going to look in his mirrors. He knows that he's got the less powerful truck, but he also knows that he wants to hang on, take an overall win. There's Michael Smith up ahead of Freddie Lee. Michael Smith in 93 on his way to the championship, but it's a separate issue out front. Scott Bourne's still there, negotiating the back marker traffic. Coming up now to pass Chris Land in the 77. Land sticks to the inside. Good driving from Chris. The leaders are through, and here they come across the line again. Carl Boardley here, he's shaping up and closing up on Scott Bourne. Looks to the inside line. Bourne sees it, moves across, grabs the line. All good, clean, fair stuff at the moment. Boardley, though, is definitely closing in. Through paddock, down the bottom of Halewoods, up Halewoods Hill, into Druids. Here comes Boardley. Carl Boardley in the 41, looks down the inside. Bourne's on the outside line, holds on to it. Oh, the back end of Bourne's truck comes round. He loses a little bit of momentum there, and Boardley might sense that there could be a mistake in the offing here from Scott Bourne. Bourne down through Graham Hill Bend along Cooper Straight. Here's the view from the chaser. Carl Boardley, second position. They look up into Surtees, now into McLaren. Surtees the left-hander, McLaren the right, round into Clearways. Great scrap on for third as well. Mark Willis still there from Dave Longhurst. 2 great friends, rivals on track of course, but having a super race of it at the moment. So close. And here comes Boardley. The yellow truck of Boardley's through. He's got his nose in front, but Bourne's fighting back on the outside line. Onto the last lap. They're virtually touching as they go into Paddock Hill Bend. Superb racing, but clean and fair so far. Boardley goes through. You saw him working the wheel, and Bourne got a bit crossed up as well, but it's Carl Boardley that's come through to take the lead. Scott Bourne in the Pro 2 truck is second. We've got a back marker coming into play as well, but it's Carl Boardley that's come through. Great drive from the Ipswich man, and I remind you, Scott Bourne What can we say about him? A 2-litre Pro 2 truck running in second position and leading for so long. There's Michael Smith ahead of Freddie Lee and David O'Regan. Smith on his way to the championship here. Here comes Scott Bourne's getting closer to Bordley, goes up the inside line, and clatters into Bordley. There's contact and Bourne's got the lead back. Scott Bourne's back in the lead, but Carl Bordley's going to fight and gets his foot down here. Look at the momentum. Bordley's got sails past again to reclaim the lead. What a finish. Bordley takes it. Scott Bourne in second position. Fantastic race. Mark Willis third, then Dave Longhurst. A little bit of a gap back to Gavin Murray, who would take fifth place, but what a last lap. Bordley and Bourne make contact. I'm not sure if they did going into paddock when Bordley got past. It was the lightest of touches if that was the case. There's the spoils for the winners. Scott Bourne takes second position. Carl Bordley, though, is the race winner. Confirmation of the result. Bordley from Bourne, Mark Willis third, then Dave Longhurst, Gavin Murray, Paul Tompkins. Congratulations, Michael Smith retains the championship with 7th, then David O'Regan, Freddie Lee 9th, Paul Jones in 10th place, still dicing for 2nd in the championship with Mark Willis. Next up, Shane Brereton and Phil White from Lee Rogers, John Shorter, Jeff Dixon and Chris Land.
Carl Bordley, we seem to have a habit of these TV winning interviews. Many congratulations, that was one close race.
Yeah, it was very close, very close. My truck seemed to be a bit better towards the end. Scott was quicker in a couple of places, but I knew if I could get through paddock fairly quick on the last couple of laps that I might be able to have a sniff. He nearly got up the inside of me on the last lap, a little bit of paint swapping, but that's racing, and managed to out drag him to the line.
Scott Bourne, Brands Hatch, we were talking about how evocative the name of the circuit is, but you led that race for so long. You've won Pro 2, but it was really looking like you wanted the overall win.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a dream to have a win, but unfortunately I just made too much of a break at the beginning, and the tyres just weren't underneath me, but I'm so over the moon with a second place. To say to come second to someone so experienced like Carl, it's just a big achievement for me in my first year, so I'm well happy.
And it's a message for drivers that want to come into pickup truck racing, is that if you get the preparation right, you've got the ability, that you can deliver the results.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, races are won and lost in the garage. I mean, but being Pro 2, there's definitely a big opening for other people to get podiums and, get good results out of it. So it'd be brilliant for people to join. And as I say, yeah, you'd go well with a Pro 2.
Mark Willis, Brands Hatch and Podia, words that go together very well and very frequently. So some good points there, and you're closing in on Jonesy for second place.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said before, whatever we can come out with today is going to be a bonus for us after the bad accident that we had earlier on in the year. You don't like to keep harping on about it, but because a lot of the boys have had bad meetings, so that was my bad meeting. But we're here today to do what we can do. It was the best I could do in that one third. I couldn't keep up with Scott and Carl, so third was good for us.
Podium celebrations for Messrs Bourne, Bordley and Willis. Join us after the break for more.
Well, Michael Smith, many congratulations. You've successfully retained the championship. You are the 2015 champion. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, great feeling again. Took me a long time to get 1, and to get 2 on the trot is special, so really pleased.
I think you're the first driver to wrap up the title with a race to spare for a few years now.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, makes the second race a little bit more relaxing and a lot more fun, I think. I'm really looking forward to the second race now because I can relax a bit and enjoy it.
Does it really play on your mind going into a race knowing that you had a points cushion, but does it play that you've got to bring the truck home to avoid that last race showdown?
Yeah, it does. I mean, obviously the weather conditions didn't help really. It was literally some minutes before we were going out. What do we do? Do we put wets on? Do we put slicks on? I ended up going 2 and 2. Don't think it was the perfect combination, and then I knew I just had to stay on the track, and I could see where Mark was. I knew where Paul was. I knew what they needed to do to keep it going to the last race, and luckily I managed to keep that out of the equation.
Will we see you coming back and defending the championship, maybe going for a treble next year?
Yeah, definitely.
That's great. Congratulations once again. Thanks for talking to us.
Right, thank you.
Well, this is Chris Land, who joined Pro 2 this year. Chris, I think your first meeting was Thruxton. It's taken us a while to catch up with you, which I apologise for, but how have you enjoyed your first season with pickups?
It's been eventful, shall we say. It's been a hard drive from the start. A bit of a baptism of fire, shall we say. But we've kept there. We've had a few good finishes. and we've improved on our lap times, and hopefully going into next year will be a lot better. So.
Have you raced anything before pickup trucks?
No, I haven't. Nothing at all. Got into pickups through Lee Rogers, who's our mentor, if you like, this year. One day I found myself having a chat to Lee, and he mentioned what he did for a hobby, and next minute I've been bolted into a pickup as a bit of a passenger, and before I know it I've gone out and bought one. So here we are, and like I said, it's been a bit of a steep learning curve, but we've enjoyed it so far. So.
Pickup truck racing, we see drivers from other disciplines come in, but as a complete newcomer to motor racing, how have you found it, and would you recommend it to other drivers?
Yeah, I certainly would. Personally, going out, well, I've been told so far that not having any previous experience, I haven't picked up any bad habits, so I've been out learning as we go. But yeah, I would recommend it to new drivers. Immensely friendly paddock. The amount of help we've had over the season has been brilliant. Little bits of tips and advice here and there, and yeah, I would definitely recommend it to new people.
Scott Bourne, I think it's fair to say you made a big impression on this championship, and had you joined earlier, of course you'd have been probably in the running for the Pro 2, which John Shorter's wrapped up. Do you wish you'd come and played a few rounds before now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a bit of a gutter only coming halfway through the season, but due to business commitments and not having the car ready, we had to unfortunately make a decision to come out a little bit later. But it would have been nice to have done one more meeting, like John said yesterday, which we could have mixed it up a little bit more, but unfortunately it weren't to be.
Big question I guess we've got to ask is, you're running in Pro 2, we won't run in Pro 1 next year, or are you just going to get today out of the way and then see what happens?
I mean, yeah, we're looking at getting today out of the way, see what results we can bring in. But obviously I'm hoping to go Pro 1 for next year, all depending on sponsors and backing really, but that's the aim.
There'll be a few people looking over their shoulders. I mean, they are now anyway, but even more so, I guess, next year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're hoping to try and run with the more experienced drivers next year, being Pro 1. But it's just we'll take a step at a time really, and see how it comes.
Paul still second in the championship, but Mr. Willis is really chasing you for those points just now.
Well, we worked out there's roughly around about 9 points behind us, so we've got to get right up the rear end of Mark, but we're starting from the back because we had such poor qualifying, and we're just going to give it all. I mean, fair play to Mark. He's had some bad luck. He's drew it back for himself now, and you know, fair play to him. If he does get second, you know, good luck.
Charlie, looks a bit tricky out there. How are you going to approach this?
Very carefully, I think. It sounds like quite a lot of diesel went down that last race, so I don't know what to expect when we get out there. Just see on the sighting lap, see how we get on.
Okay, we wish you well anyway. Have a good one.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, mate. David, front row here at Brands Hatch, a circuit where you go well. Any thoughts before you go out?
Let's hope it rains because we're running wet. So once it stays wet, we're happy. That's what we can deal with at the moment.
What's the setup?
We've made a few adjustments since the first race. Maybe due to different conditions, it might not work out well, but look, we'll see. We'll have to run what we have.
Have a safe race.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the two guys we just heard from, Charlie Weaver first of all, and then David O'Regan, they start on the front row of the grid for our second and final race of the meeting and indeed the season. There's Anthony Hawkins, who's back out after repairs to the 3J driveline truck. Charlie Weaver and David O'Regan on the front row. Row 2, Scott Bourne and Mark Willis. Row 3, Freddie Lee and Michael Smith. On the fourth row, it's Gavin Murray and Paul Tompkins. Behind them, Dave Longhurst and Jeff Dixon. 11th, John Shorter with Lee Rogers 12th, then Paul Jones and Chris Land. Carl Boardley with Anthony Hawkins, row 8. Row 9, Phil White and Shane Brereton. And newcomer Ben Edwards in truck 14 will make the start as well. Stuart Bradburn driving the pace car. And the two guys on the front row of the grid, both used to fighting it out at the sharp end. We've seen David O'Regan win races. Charlie Weaver's had a pretty impressive campaign, I think. Second position on the 1.5 mile super speedway Rockingham back in May. So both those guys know how to fight it out at the sharp end in pickup trucks. They've got Scott Bourne and Mark Willis immediately behind them. Then Freddie Lee and Michael Smith in the white and green double championship winning 93. We're racing here at Brands Hatch. Away we go. Anthony Hawkins to the outside line of Shane Brereton towards the back. It is still very, very wet and very, very slippery out there as Scott Bourne finds out. And that's Michael Smith and Paul Tompkins right up behind him. That could have been a lot worse. It's bad enough for those three drivers. And Michael Smith, for one, is going to be counting his blessings that did not happen in race 1. That would have been massive pressure for Michael Smith if it had happened in race 1. Carl Boardley making ground. Look at the yellow 41. Boardley started down in 15th. He's cleared about 6 or 7 trucks already. Incredible stuff from the man from Ipswich, who's up already into the top 6. But the race leader is David O'Regan. Battle on for second place. It's Charlie Weaver second at the moment from Mark Willis. Boardley, Jones, Shorter. Then it's Lee Rogers followed by Shane Brereton 48. 63 is Phil White. Then Chris Land. Look at the lead that David O'Regan's got. He is going to be a difficult driver to beat with that sort of lead already. O'Regan, once he gets out front, tends to make the break. Willis second. Freddie Lee goes through on the inside of Charlie Weaver to take third place. So it's O'Regan, Willis, Lee, Charlie Weaver. I make the distinction, but of course David Weaver not racing with us this weekend, sadly. A driver who took a win at Rockingham. The Weaver boys really going well on the oval this year and very clearly going well at the moment in this one too, as Boardley looks down the inside of Dave Longhurst. Gavin Murray up front at the moment in 95. Boardley and Longhurst have a little bit of paint trading there. I love the way Carl said it was paint trading with Scott Bourne. You know, in any other formula you'd have had drivers whinging and moaning about what happened on the last lap of race number 1, but these boys just get on with it, and that's what Boardley did. Had that contact, recovered from it, got his foot back down and took the win. And I take my hat off to the attitude of these guys. They just get on with the racing, and any little bits of inadvertent contact are there. They entertain the fans, and it's even more entertaining if the drivers crack on with the job, which is what Boardley's doing now. And look at Gavin Murray on the inside, in car with Carl Boardley, or in pickup we should say, with Carl chasing Gavin Murray. Freddie Lee challenging for second. Lee looks down the inside of Mark Willis at Druids. Willis going for the wide line, looking for the grip out there, and Freddie Lee's trying to go through, but it's going to be the outside line for Graham Hill. Ben Willis knows that. Look how Willis's truck is staking. Both of those boys with maximum ballast on board. You can see the graphic saying 70 kg in the windscreen, but now Lee's got the inside line coming down into Surtees to challenge for second. Dab on the brakes. Willis sweeps back round, hangs on to second place. Freddie Lee really giving notice of intent in this one. Carl Boardley got the fastest lap in race number 1. Paul Tompkins getting a little bit sideways there, recovering with Scott Bourne. But here's the battle for second. It's not going to be a battle for long, because through on the inside goes Freddie Lee. Lee passes Willis. Lee second, Willis third. David O'Regan the leader into paddock. It looks like Fred's got the truck well set up. He's just posted a fastest lap of the race. So Freddie Lee second, and David O'Regan out front. Now, can Freddie Lee close down? It was the lap time suggests that he will be able to close down. Anthony Hawkins, as I said, champion 2 years ago, chasing the newcomer Ben Edwards. Good to see Ben back out for a second go. Exploratory meeting for him. I know he's enjoying it. I spoke to him after race 1 as Boardley and Longhurst still having their battle. Boardley out front at the moment. So it's O'Regan from Lee and Willis. You can see Freddie Lee is reeling in. The Crowthorne truck is reeling in the race leader at the moment. So the Irishman leads. Freddie Lee, I guess we say Fred's half Irish because his mum Finola is Irish. So, and then we've got Mark Willis back in third place. Carl Boardley now up into fourth. Lee Rogers dicing with Phil White, with Paul Tompkins recovering from that first lap incident, looking to go through on the inside line here. So Tompkins, or Winkle as he's known in racing circles, goes through past Lee Rogers and now on the outside line of Phil White. So Paul Tompkins makes up 2 places there. White's going to challenge back, looking down the inside going into Paddock Hill Bend. Scott Bourne's coming up in the mix as well on his recovery. He's caught Lee Rogers in 69, and Bourne now going to have a quick shifty up the inside line to see whether he can get past Lee. Lee going a little bit wide there. There is an argument for saying there's more grip on the outside line in the wet. Seemed to work for Rogers there, and he's nibbling all over the rear end of Phil White's 63 machine. trying to go through, but the Denham Car Centre back 63 truck holding on to position at the moment, while Paul Tompkins starts to pull a wee bit away. There is Chris Land, who we heard from before the race. Join us after the break for more. Welcome back to Brands Hatch. Three-way scrap here at the moment. Phil White, Lee Rogers, and then Scott Bourne in 99. Bourne looking to try and do a Formula Ford style sweep around Clearways. A wide line at Clearways could give him some good momentum. Meanwhile, this the battle for the lead. David O'Regan with Freddie Lee, who's closed right in, and Lee sticking right to the inside line at Druids. This worked for him earlier on because he had very good momentum along Cooper Straight. Coming through Graham Hill Bend now. Cooper Straight follows on immediately from this corner. They're on Cooper Straight now, and Lee challenging David O'Regan. I can tell you at the moment, Mark Willis, who's running there in the dark blue car, is in position to take second position in the standings away from Paul Jones. Jones is still scoring points, but he's down in 9th or 10th place at the moment, and Willis was 9 points behind coming into this race, 5 points per race play. So Willis will snatch second position in the championship if things stay the way they are. But we've got a race on here. David O'Regan, multi-winner in the championship, and Freddie Lee, who hasn't had a win in pickups yet. He's had plenty of podia, pole positions and fastest laps, and looks down the inside. Lee looks the sharper of the two. Back to Scott Bourne and Phil White. Former champion, no doubt, dicing future champion here. And the 99 goes round the outside. Great piece of driving from Scott Bourne, passes Phil White, makes up a position. White's going to have a look back down the inside line in 63. Wherever you look on the track here, on this 1.2 mile Brands Hatch Indy circuit, there is dicing aplenty. Well, there is Carl Boardley. Boardley closing in on third place Mark Willis at the moment. So David O'Regan still there in second. Chris Land is the car that the race leaders are approaching. So Willis still in third. Carl Boardley now with the fastest lap of the race. Mark Willis again keeping it tight. You saw the back end wanting to try and break away. Look how cool Carl Boardley is. Moves up a gear now. Here comes Freddie Lee. He's going to challenge the race leader again. They come across the line. David O'Regan, to be fair, is leaving the door wide open going into paddock, and Freddie Lee's through. I think he's got his nose in front. Boardley goes into third. Freddie Lee has got the lead, and David O'Regan's out on the curbs, and Freddie Lee's got the line coming into Druids. It's a line that he's very much used through the race, the tighter line, and the Crowthorne Simpson machine goes through into the race lead. Can David O'Regan fight back? We know that he's capable of doing so. We've seen him do it so many times, not only this year but previous seasons in the pickups. But it's Freddie Lee who's fought through from fifth on the grid into the lead. I tell you what, his dad Barry's going to be jumping up and down in the pit lane with excitement, and his mum Finn as well is going to be doing the same. The Matt Roach Racing prepared truck running sweetly at the moment, and Fred's doing the great job of the driving. As we look at the two Pro 2 front runners, the Wild West Beef Jerky truck of John Shorter up ahead of the Gold Arts 99 machine of Scott Bourne. Bourne's going to look at the inside line here. Well, he lose that momentarily, and Bourne's through as we pick up on Gavin Murray in 95, then Paul Tompkins in 12. Tompkins has recovered very well indeed from that first lap incident where Scott Bourne went into a half spin at Halewoods with Michael Smith and Paul right with him. Carl Boardley now up to second. So Boardley second, O'Regan third. Mark Willis is in fourth place. O'Regan's going to have a look down the inside to try and repass Boardley. Nothing doing there at the moment. Through Graham Hill Bend they go, and it's Freddie Lee still out front. There is Paul Jones, second in the championship at the moment, but I think Jones will be maybe waving goodbye to that in favour of Mark Willis. But to be fair, Paul Jones had a terrific season. Won here at Brands Hatch. He was the fastest man without question at Brands Hatch at the start of the year. And third place in the pickup truck championship, which looks like is going to be his reward, is no mean feat at all. Shane Brereton goes past Chris Land. So too does Scott Bourne in the 99. So tricky conditions here. You've seen the drivers just how very, very easily these trucks get crossed up. The back end wants to come around. Bourne's looking for some grip on the outside, chasing Shane Brereton down again. He's going to look at the inside line as they come along the straight. This is the battle. Well, it's not a battle yet, but this is first and second. Freddie Lee, the leader. Carl Boardley second. It is a battle for third. Mark Willis and David O'Regan in very close proximity. Willis looks to the inside line here to try and grab another podium. Is he going to be able to go through? Oh, there's a little bit of a touch between the two trucks. Mindful of similar contact last year. I think it was David O'Regan and Pete Stevens when Stevens was dicing with Michael Smith for the championship. And a very light touch anywhere in these wet, tricky conditions can result in a spin. Luckily that didn't there. These guys know what they're doing. There's John Shorter, double champion for this year, top rookie, top Pro 2 runner in the points championship, 6th overall in the standing. So a marvellous year, a marvellous debut season for him. So too for Scott Bourne in 99. What a drive he had in race number 1 to take that second position to Carl Boardley. Shane Brereton right behind him. Well, here is Boardley chasing down Freddie Lee. So Lee still out front. Boardley's got the fastest lap. He's wrestled that away from Freddie Lee as he's mounted the chase. Both of these guys in Pro 2. Here's the view from Boardley. The sky not full of rain as it was earlier on. It's still wet and slippery out there. Back marker traffic looming for these boys. So Freddie's going to be looking very carefully at those. Carl Boardley will too. Both of them smooth as silk as they go through Clearways, through Clark Curve, onto Brabham Straight once again. Jeff Dixon, the first of the back markers. Dixon moves across. So Dixon is passed by the top 2 and onto the last lap. Freddie Lee there. We've got Ben Edwards who is coming up. As if they catch Edwards on the way down from Druids, it could be a problem because realistically you keep out of the way on the outside of Druids as Boardley goes to the outside line. Boardley's challenging for the lead on the outside. Freddie Lee on the inside. Boardley's got his nose in front. Lee's going to chop across and grabs the line from Boardley. Now this is the difficult thing for Ben Edwards here. Maybe hasn't seen them. Lee muscles through. Freddie Lee muscles his way through past the back marker. Boardley goes through as well. Freddie Lee was so determined there. And is he going to hang on to it? The determination in that move on the back marker tells me that Freddie's going to hang on to it. But Boardley was very quick around Clearways on the last lap of the previous race. And the 41 truck closing in on 51, but it's Freddie Lee, hungry for his first win. Who is there? Carl Boardley right behind him. Boardley's going to go to the outside line. Freddie Lee still got the lead. They come through the Clark Curve onto the Brabham Straight. Who takes the win? It's Lee. Freddie Lee's first pickup truck win. Carl Boardley second. Third place is going to go to Mark Willis. Willis crosses the line. David O'Regan is in 4th, but Freddie Lee takes his first pickup truck racing win. It was long overdue. He is going to be made up. His dad and mum are going to be absolutely thrilled. It's a popular win. Here is Freddie down into Parc Ferme. The Matt Roach Racing boys are with him. There's multi-racing champion Barry Lee, Freddie's dad. Rightly delighted about that. There's the emotion. A win for Freddie Lee.
Where's 4X on? 4X on.
So here's the result. Freddie Lee's first win. Carl Boardley in second from Mark Willis. David O'Regan next, then Dave Longhurst from Michael Smith. Charlie Weaver 7th, then Paul Tompkins and Paul Jones. Gavin Murray completes the top 10 in race number 2. 11th goes to Scott Bourne, then Shane Brereton and Phil White. John Shorter in 14th from Lee Rogers, then Anthony Hawkins, Ben Edwards, Jeff Dixon and Chris Land.
Well, Freddie, many congratulations on your first pickup truck win.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a monkey on my back all year. Been pushing so hard. We've had a silly amount of poles and fastest laps, but just seem to not have enough experience just to try and keep my cool and keep my calm, and just shows how much we've moved on with the truck and myself as a person, just to not be able to buckle over, 4 times world champion coming at me. So yeah, there's no way I was going to let that go, but it's just a fantastic race, and just thankful for everyone this year for their support. And yeah,
This is the place to do it, isn't it, Brands Hatch? Massive crowd for this meeting too.
Yeah, massive crowd, all my family and friends here and supporters, and it's just been great. Fantastic day.
Carl, another cracking race, another podium here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, really pleased with that. Starting, way back in 17th, 18th, or wherever we were, and with the conditions as they were, it was a case of keeping four tyres on the black stuff and trying to make as much progress as we could, and it nearly come good at the end.
I know sometimes you don't like people saying how good you are, but you're a very versatile racer. We've seen you perform well in Ginetta. You do well every time you go out and pick ups. You're an oval world champion. How difficult is it to keep switching disciplines?
I don't really find it too difficult, to be fair. You know, give it a couple of laps and then you just get the feel of where it is, you know, where you were with it before. You know, so I'm normally quite flexible in jumping from different things.
Mark Willis, another very tough race, difficult conditions out there, but you've netted second in the championship.
Yeah, I mean, coming here we didn't think we'd get that. We thought we'd struggle on to get third, to be honest. So Paul's obviously had a bad day and I've benefited from it. Yeah, over the moon with that, over the moon. Congratulations to Michael and all his team. I mean, they work fantastic like we all do. The hours that the guys all put in back at the shop to come here today and to salvage something for the year is great.
The winter break that's coming up, no racing but loads of time in the garage.
Yeah, give us a chance to get some budget back together now, ready for next year, and come back some stronger, I think.
So we're looking forward to another season of Mark Willis in pickups.
Definitely. I love it, yeah, I love it. We'll be back. I've got a fantastic team, family around me. We'll be back.
We'll see you in 2016. Well done.
Thank you. Cheers.
Congratulations to double champion Michael Smith, then Mark Willis second from Paul Jones and Freddie Lee fourth. Fifth place goes to Gavin Murray. John Shorter, top rookie and Pro 2 champion, sixth from Charlie Weaver. Phil White, 8th from Anthony Hawkins. Shane Brereton completing the top 10. 11th was Scott Bourne from David O'Regan, then Dave Longhurst, Paul Tompkins 14th, Pete Stevens 15th, and then Jeff Dixon and Chris Land.
Well, another great day's racing from the Pickup Truck Racing Championship, and our congratulations to double champion Michael Smith. Join us next time on Last Lap. We've got action from the Cannons Tin Tops and also the Motorsport News Saloon. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.